Hi, it's Lily here with MonitorBase. The topic of today's video is uploading. So the first thing that you're going to want to do even before you begin uploading is take a look at your file and be sure that it's formatted exactly how you want it to be. What you'll need for your file is a row for each borrower and a column for first name, last name, address, city, state, and zip code. You can also include columns for any additional pieces of information that you would like to include, such as phone numbers, emails, rate, loan number, etc. You can really include as many fields as you would like. There are some categories that are not inside of MonitorBase, and you can add up to 5 custom columns. I'll show you my example file, and this has all the necessary pieces of information that you'd like to include. So here you can see that we have my file. It's an Excel type file, and we have a column for the first name, last name, the co-first name, co-last name, the borrower address, city, state, and zip code. Now we also recommend including contact information, so I've also included that here. I want to take a minute to explain how monitoring works for each borrower. Borrowers are not monitored by pairs of co-borrower and borrower. They're only monitored individually. You're getting individual credit information for each borrower, so they're all monitored separately. So what you could do essentially is put in John Smith with all of his address information into one row, and then put Jane Smith in her own row right under John Smith and copy and paste in that address. But if you're uploading a lot of co-borrower and borrower pairs, it's going to take a lot of time for you to copy and paste that address. So we made it possible, therefore, for you to simply include the co-borrower first name and last name, and then put it in the same row as the borrower itself, and it will automatically pick up the address and add that to the co-borrower when you go to upload. Now, important key factors of your file are, one, that it's saved as a CSV file. So I'll show you how to double check. You'll just go to your file and then click Save As, and make sure it's saved as a CSV, comma separated values file. Now there are a couple options for CSV files in the dropdown. You'll notice the CSV UTF-8. I usually choose this one, but if that one gives you any trouble, you can always choose a different version of a CSV file and it should work. I just usually go with the straight CSV, comma delimited option. So go back to your file and double check formatting. Another thing that you want to look for is the first row of your column. So I'll get to this a little bit later, but one of the issues that can sometimes arise in uploading is the mapping portion of your upload. There's a part of uploading where you have to match each of your columns into our sections inside of MonitorBase. In mapping, we'll take the first row of your file, and that's where we grab each of the column headers. So it's really important that all of your column headers are actually in the first row. This might not seem like a big detail, but I'll show you an example where they aren't in the first row. So let's say that you did a contact download from your CRM of all your contacts that you want to upload into MonitorBase. You might have titled that something like CRM contact download, and you might have put that in the first row. So this would be an example where this first row, not including all of these column headers, would be a problem. So it wouldn't be able to pick up all of the data in each of the rows, and your upload wouldn't work correctly. So if you have a title in the first row or couple of rows, make sure you delete these first 3 rows so that this row with all of the column headers is the first row in your file. Now I'm going to also touch on some other problems that we see arising in upload. Sometimes if you do something like contact download from your CRM or your LOS, you get a lot of columns that you might not need to upload into MonitorBase. So this is a bad example upload, and I'll show you what I mean. This is an example of something that we might have downloaded from MonitorBase. So it has things like alert ID, alert type, date, prospect ID, prospect, date, all these things that we really don't need to upload into MonitorBase. So this is just going to add a level of difficulty for you when you go to upload your file and when you're mapping all of those columns. So I would recommend that you delete out any rows that you don't actually need. This is going to make your upload so much easier. Now, another problem that can also arise in uploading is if you have a lot of contacts that don't have an address. So I have some examples here where we have the name, and let's say we have a phone number or an email. Maybe it was a lead that you got from a different website. Maybe it was a Facebook lead. Maybe it was a lead from Zillow, from your realtor. In any case, you don't have the full address for this person. As I mentioned before, address is actually one of the necessary fields that we need in order to monitor your clients. So if you were to upload Jane Smith and John Johnson here without these addresses, you wouldn't be able to upload into this system and it wouldn't function properly. So for any of these clients that don't have an address, I recommend deleting them out. If there's a couple of them that are missing an address, it's not really a big deal, but if you get to big stretches where you have a lot of missing data, it can kind of bog up your upload and cause some errors. So if you have a lot of contacts that don't have addresses, go ahead and delete them out. If there's just a couple, don't worry about it. One more piece of advice on uploading is that we only accept one address into the system. So I want to explain to you how this address works with monitoring so that you know which address to use. Our partner is Experian, and we use Experian to get the data for the credit. Now, Experian is able to find your clients and monitor them based on their name and address. A name and an address that has been reported on their credit at some point is a unique enough match to be able to find that person and their current credit information. So the important piece about the address is that it is an address that was reported on their credit at some point. It does not have to be a current address. We can still get that person to be monitored, and we can also do a really good job of getting the mail addresses updated so that they're receiving your letters. The reason why this is good to know is because you have a couple addresses in your system. You might have a subject property address, a mailing address, and their current address, and those might be different. I hope that this piece of advice allows you to better choose the address that you think is going to be the best for monitoring. Now that you've saved your file as a CSV file, and you've formatted it so that your first row contains all the column headers, maybe you've deleted some addresses that didn't exist so that those contacts won't bog up your upload, and maybe you've also deleted some columns that aren't necessary, you're ready to upload. Let's jump into MonitorBase so I can show you exactly how to upload. Alright, now that we're here in MonitorBase, I'm in my demo account and we're ready to upload. At this point, I highly recommend that you open up your MonitorBase account and follow along during the upload. The first step for uploading is just to go over to the left-hand sidebar and click on the Prospects button. So here we are, and we're going to go down to Upload. So go ahead and click on Upload, and there's 4 steps to uploading. The first step is simply to choose your file. I'm choosing my sample upload information and just opening the file. Next, you can put in a description for your file. To be completely honest with you, this part is not necessary. You can leave this section blank if you would like. I'm going to describe this file as a sample upload. You'll hit the next button and move on to step 2. In step 2, you'll want to select your user. If you are uploading for yourself and your own contacts, go ahead and click the drop-down and choose your own account. If you are loan officer assistant, be sure to select your loan officer's account and not your own account. If you are a company admin and you're uploading for a list of loan officers and there's a column for the loan officer's email in your file, be sure to leave this section blank. If you are a branch manager, region manager, division manager, or a company admin who is uploading for a specific user and not a list of users, go ahead and use this drop-down to select the account that you're uploading to. Next step is to include a tag. A tag is something that you can use to categorize all the contacts in this specific upload. If you're not sure how to tag this, I highly recommend including a tag anyway, and something like the date of the upload would work really well to categorize this. I'm going to name mine by the date, which is May 1st, 2020. Now, a finicky little thing here is that you have to hit the enter button for this tag to save. If I were to just type this in and not hit the enter button, if I just click out of it, you'll see that the tag completely disappeared. So it's really important that you actually hit the enter button when you put in this tag so it saves in the blue bubble, and then you know that the tag is going to be applied. Feel free to add multiple tags, especially if you're uploading for something like a realtor's database. You can put in the name of the realtor and really quick know that that belongs to that realtor. Now that you've added the tags, go ahead and choose the relationship level. If you're not sure what to put here, just put unknown. It won't make a big difference in monitoring, but it can be helpful. Here I'm going to put past client. And then go on to step 3. The first part of step 3 is choosing monitoring. For a quick recap, migration is a credit improvement alert. Inquiry is a notification when your past client has applied for a mortgage with a competitor. A pre-mover alert is a listing alert. Lastly, a predictive alert will let you know when your client is going to be in the market soon or if they will be a good candidate for a refinance. Go ahead and select any boxes for monitoring that you're interested in. I'm going to select all monitoring, and keep in mind that you can adjust this after upload. The second part of step 3 is these 4 boxes below. These first 4 boxes talk about duplicates. Now, I'm going to explain what a duplicate is in our system. A true duplicate will be a name and an address that already exists, either within the upload itself that you're uploading right now, or the files that already exist inside of your MonitorBase account. If our system recognizes that you have the same name and address for any 2 people inside of your system, we will scrub out those duplicates. That way you won't have double the amount of contacts in the system. Please note that there is no automatic way to scrub out any duplicates that have the same name but a different address. Those you will have to update manually, but if they are the same person, you will only get 1 alert, even if there are 5 of the same person with different addresses. Even if you don't click any of these boxes, the duplicates will be scrubbed out of the system automatically. These boxes simply allow you to control if there's specific actions that you want to happen for those duplicates. Click this first box if you want to update the monitoring on those duplicate prospects. Click this second box if you want to update the contact information, change the loan officer who owns this prospect, or update the CRM ID. Click this third box if you want to remove any of the tags that already exist for that prospect in MonitorBase. Click this last box if you want to add new tags to those duplicates as well. If you are a company admin doing an upload, you will also see 2 additional boxes right here. The first will say, are these enterprise prospects? If your company pays for your prospects by the number of prospects uploaded, then you can click this box if those are company prospects that you are paying for. The last box will ask if you want to delete those prospects. You're doing an upload, so I'm assuming you don't want to delete those prospects, so in most cases you would not want to check the delete prospects box. Once your monitoring has been set and you've also clicked the boxes that you're interested in applying, go ahead and move on to the last step. Step 4 of uploading is mapping. What mapping really is matching up the column headers in your file to the sections inside of MonitorBase. The original header column will show you all of the headers that exist inside your file. This is pulling from that first row of your file. If you named your first column first name, that will show up as the original header in the first line here. You will see all the original headers from your file inside of this original header column. This Map To column with all the dropdowns shows you the sections that exist inside of MonitorBase. Now, these example rows 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 will show you the sample information that exists inside of your file, just so that you can double check that you're mapping everything correctly. Here in my file, I have a column named First Name. And then in that column, the first row has John and the second row has Harry. So now I'm making sure, okay, yes, this is the first name column. Everything shows up in my file exactly how I want it to. Now I just need to match that column up to the section inside of MonitorBase. Note that MonitorBase is going to try and guess which section you want that column mapped to. So I've titled my original column as first name, and MonitorBase guessed that I wanted it mapped to first name. And they're right. So for this one, I don't have to do anything. Same with last name. It picked this up pretty easily. I have co-borrower first name, which also matched up to co-first name. And if let's say that this didn't match up, you could just go in here and change the drop down to what you wanted that field to be matched up with. So I'm going through my file and just making sure that everything matches up. I have co-borrower last name, and that's matching up to co-borrower last name. And I know that it is correct because it's showing me the last name for my co-borrower, which is Smith, and I know that that's correct. For your address, you want to just map that to address. City matches up to city, state up to state, zip code, and it looks like the system didn't pick up that this should be mapped to zip code because it just shows skip. So I'm going to click on this and go down to zip code and click that, and now this will match up correctly. Home phone matches up with home phone, work phone with work phone, cell phone, email, everything looks good. Now if you have other sections here, let's say that this was a custom field and we didn't have your section inside of MonitorBase. You would just go down and click one of these custom options, and that will show up in just a custom field with your column header. You'll notice we have a lot of different options, such as rate, loan type, loan source, loan amount and number, the closing date or funded date, application date, etc. Feel free to include as much of this information as you would like. It does not make a difference in monitoring, but it can be helpful for you when you're referencing these prospects. Double check to make sure that all of your sections are mapped up correctly and that you didn't miss anything. Once you're sure that everything has been matched up perfectly, go ahead and save your file. Once your file has been saved, you will get a success notification that your file has uploaded successfully. Once the upload is complete, you will also get an email with the breakdown of your upload. If there were any errors, duplicates, malformed addresses, etc., the breakdown will tell you everything that you need to know about your upload. You'll notice as you refresh your MonitorBase dashboard that your numbers in the monitors section will increase. As you refresh it, you'll see the number of prospects that you're monitoring for inquiry, migration, predictive, and pre-mover increase. You'll also see the total number of prospects increase. There is a delay between uploading and the time that you'll receive alerts. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. My email is lily@monitorbase.com and my phone number is 385-743-2216. Thank you so much for watching and have a wonderful day.